God warns the enemy is trying to hide your miracle. If you skip this, you might miss something big, a truth you need to hear right now. Wait a minute. Put down what you're doing. Let it be quiet if it's making noise. If someone is nearby, this is your time alone. Before we begin, take a deep breath. Good. Because what I'm about to say isn't just noise. Pay close attention to what's coming. Chosen one. There's something I want to talk about with you because I believe you don't fully understand what you did today. You chose to do something. It could have been quiet. It's possible that no one saw it. It might not have seemed important. Even though you wanted to freak out, you chose to stay calm. Or you picked to trust even though everyone and everything told you not to. Or you picked to keep going even though you wanted to give up. Even though you didn't feel like it, you chose to pray because you still thought it was important. Even though everything was telling you to let it go, you chose to get up, not say anything, and keep your cool. Also, I need you to know something important. Heaven took notice. Not just a nice thought to make you feel better. Not just a saying. There is a real thing going on here that has a name, a way it works. And an effect that you can't see right now while you listen. Because what you did today, that quiet, simple, and tiny act of faith changed everything. That's why heaven changed its mind about what it was going to do because of you. I'm going to show you what that really means. First though, I need you to tell me the truth about something. Are you tired these days? Not the kind of tired that can be fixed by sleep. You feel heavy in your bones even after resting, like your body is carrying something that your mind can't quite understand. There's no health risk there. Your spirit is dealing with something on a level that most people don't go through. It means someone is getting you ready for something big. Have you thought about how your feelings go up and down, like how peace comes and goes, then a quiet sadness, then a strange hope? It all doesn't make sense. The outside hasn't changed, but how you feel has. Not being stable like that. That's your energy shifting levels, and it's more important than anyone has told you. Did you feel anything when you made that choice today? Not a thought or a voice. Deep down there was just a feeling that it was right even though nothing proved it. And everything still looked the same. The gamma switch is the subject of a study at Princeton. When someone makes a decision based on faith, their brain goes into a certain wave pattern. I'll do that. I'll tell you what it means for you, but not yet. First, I need to show you what's going on in the background right now and why this morning is different from all the others. Before I go any further, one more thing. There have been times when you were alone in a room but didn't feel like you were. It wasn't scary. There was just a quiet awareness that something was watching. That's not something you made up. What you're feeling has a name, and it will explain everything I've said so far. We'll talk about it again. Now I'm going to explain how this morning was even possible. The tough years, the waiting, the quiet times, and the times when it seemed like nothing was happening are things that most people don't understand about the chosen one journey. That wasn't a punishment. You were remembered by God. They were part of God's plan all along. Every season you thought was a waste helped you grow in some way. Each year of peace taught you how to keep your cool when things get tough. Something was quietly and unnoticeably changing you into the person who could make the choice you did today. Every time you stayed faithful when no one was looking, each and every one. A woman named Esther lived there. Most people have the wrong idea about her story. It's not about getting someone to save you. It's about getting ready on the inside. She lived in a palace for years and learned about power and how to be in dangerous places without losing herself. The outside looked like any other day at the palace. It didn't look like fate was coming together. The next morning, they took one step and chose to walk toward the king. Even though it would have been easier and safer to walk away, she stopped a whole country from being put to death. She didn't know it was the morning. She just chose to be faithful, even though it cost her something. And I want you to think about that, because it wasn't just luck that the morning your choice moved heaven. You were ready for what was going to happen the next morning. It changes the whole picture when something is translated. That's why I need to show you something in the original language. There is a Hebrew word for that, shock. A lot of people translate it as return or repent. But that's not what it means. Shub doesn't mean to go backwards. It doesn't mean to give up or fix something. Shub means to intentionally go in a different direction, like a general who learns something new on the battlefield. He's not scared. He doesn't give up on his goal. He changes. He puts all of his resources toward the brand new point of breakthrough. Shub is the word that comes after plan in the Bible when it says that God changed his mind or that heaven reacted. Think about a way to get around. The GPS doesn't turn off when you choose a road that wasn't on the first route. It doesn't say you failed. It only says recalculating. Not because you did something wrong, but because you picked a better road that the first map didn't see coming. And right away, quietly and perfectly, the system moves all of its resources to get you to your destination via this new path. That's what took place today. You picked a path and heaven did some more math. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. But more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our community through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you aren't just visiting a site. You are entering a community of like-minded believers. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift up the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with a family that speaks the language of faith. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers, you are helping us build a global altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give acts as living water for those in our community seeking healing and hope. Give and it will be given to you is the promise that sustains our shared mission. I invite you now to step out of the shadows and into this circle of prayer. Come with purpose. Join the conversation and plant your seed in fertile ground. Let's open the heavens together. Release your seed today. Join our community and see what God brings back into your life. I want to be honest about what's coming up. So, please stay with me until the end. You'll learn the deepest truth about who you are in God's plan, which is something most churchgoers have never been taught. I'm also going to speak a direct blessing over your life before this ends. A sentence. I think you'll remember it long after I'm gone. Do not leave before then. Now, let me tell you something I haven't already. What I just told you about the Shub Esther story and the special morning is only the beginning of what I want to show you. There is a deeper question at the heart of it all. Why does your choice make heaven move? What really makes it happen? What is it about the faith-filled action of a chosen one that changes the GPS for all time, and not just any action but this one? If you answer that question, everything I just told you will make a lot more sense. It has to do with something Princeton researchers found and named the gamma switch. I already talked about that word. I haven't told you yet. You'll have a new perspective on prayer, faith, and why some mornings feel different after I do it. That's on the way. But right now, type 444 in the comments if anything I said felt true to you. If the word shove spoke to you, or if the idea that your morning moved heaven isn't just wishful thinking, but something you can feel is real. 44 is the number of fresh starts. Put a seal on it, because what today woke you up deserves to be kept secret. What you heard was the first big secret. Your morning wasn't like any other because you're not like anyone else. Your choice changed something that couldn't be seen. And the word shove that God used in His answer isn't just a figure of speech. That's how it works. But now I want to talk about this question. It wasn't what your choice did that changed things. It was how they changed. How does it really work? Why does God react to a choice made by a chosen one based on faith? Why does God react to this choice made by this person? I'm going to show you this 3 ways. After that, I want to take you even further. When a chosen one does the right thing, the first thing heaven does is rewrote them. Changing the path of something that already exists is not the same as making something new from nothing. The person who was supposed to meet someone else today instead meets you. The door that was supposed to close in 4 days stays open. The talk that was going to happen without you stays in the background. Things that were going in a different direction start to move in your direction. When you choose faith, God doesn't just make new things appear out of nowhere. He quietly and precisely moves things that are already there toward you without saying anything. This won't happen to you from where you are, but it is taking place. The second thing heaven does is speed up. God doesn't always do things at the same time. It's an open one. Joseph spent 2 years in jail after the person he helped forgot about him. 2 years of not talking. Then Pharaoh had a dream one night. The man thought of Joseph. And it only took hours to do something that should have taken years. In the morning, he was a forgotten prisoner. By the evening, he was second in command of all of Egypt. It wasn't luck. That speed was caused by a moment of loyalty that Joseph thought no one saw. It's possible that the time you thought would take 5 years is now only 5 months away. From the inside, you can't tell that this is going faster. The time has already changed, though. The third thing heaven does is show us things. God starts telling people things when one of His chosen ones is living in line with His will. Not thunder or scary visions, but a clear understanding. A quiet knowledge about a choice you've been thinking about for months. An intuition that is so clear that you don't feel surprised when it happens. You know it. A peace that doesn't make sense given the problems you're having now. That's information from heaven being sent to someone who is ready to receive it. These 3 things, rerouting, speeding up, and revealing, are not going to happen later. They don't want you to wait to finish listening. They're taking place right now. I'll show you this through a life that many people know, but not many really understand. When Moses walked back to Egypt, he was 80 years old. It had been 40 years since he ran away. His name was carved out of the monuments, taking it away. Egypt had forgotten about Moses in the desert. He was a shepherd and was talking to a bush that was on fire. His first answer wasn't confidence either. It was a struggle he fought. He explained why he wasn't fit for the job. Afterward, the text in its original Hebrew just states, one choice, one step back toward the impossible. From what we can't see, the 10 plagues started moving as soon as that step was taken. It was already being planned out how to get through the Red Sea. The manna was ready to go. It was already planned out how to get through the wild. That wasn't something Moses knew. He chose to go. Please listen slowly. The fact that Moses didn't see the water moving doesn't mean that it wasn't moving. Even though he didn't notice the change at the time, history was still going on. The fact that no one told him it was true doesn't mean it wasn't true in heaven already. It didn't have to look like an old man walking into a tough spot for that to be what it was. That's your morning. You can do that. It's possible you didn't feel it. I think you may not have had confirmation. You might have just moved and it felt small, uncertain, and normal. The idea is still the same, though. With one step of faith, the building of heaven began to move around it. Now, I'm going to show you something that most people have learned wrong, and it will change everything. There's a word in Greek called a metanoia. What most English Bibles call it is repentance, which makes people think of feeling guilty and ashamed and giving up doing wrong. The word doesn't mean that. That translation has led to a lot of confusion for decades. Meta means above, beyond, or outside of the present level. En means mind. Metanoia means to think beyond the way you are thinking now and see things from a higher level. It doesn't mean to feel bad about the past, but to think from a different place and act from a place above your problems instead of being stuck in them. It's not just praying that a chosen one does when they make a faith-based choice. It's metanoia. They are choosing to think from a level that hasn't been proven by their situation yet. Going from worrying about staying alive to thinking with faith is the exact change that heaven is going to respond to. This is why that's important. God's messages can't reach you when you're thinking about how to stay alive. It's not that He stopped sending them. It's that your mind isn't ready to receive them. You can find the information. There is help. It's clear. But your antenna is pointing in a different direction. When metanoia moves the antenna, something that has been trying to get through for months finally does. This state has a name in the world of neuroscience. GMA is the name for it. Metanoia was the word used in ancient spiritual teachings for it. There are two very different words that describe the same mental state for a long time. These two things will be linked in a way that will change the way you think about your mornings and what you do when you first wake up. That's on the way. But right now, type 444 in the comments if something I said confirms something in your spirit. If the word shove spoke to you, or if the idea that your morning moved heaven isn't just wishful thinking, but something you can feel is true. For 44, the number of fresh starts being made. Put a seal on it, because what woke you up this morning deserves to be known. What you heard was the first big secret. Your morning wasn't like any other because you're not like anyone else. Your choice changed something that couldn't be seen. And the word shove that God used in His answer isn't just a figure of speech. That's how it works. But now I want to think about this question. It wasn't what your choice did that changed things. It was how they changed. How does the process work? Why does God react to a choice made by a chosen one based on faith? Why does God react to this choice made by this person? I'm going to show you this 3 ways. After that, I want to take you even further. When a chosen one does the right thing, the first thing heaven does is reroute them. Changing the path of something that already exists is not the same as making something new from nothing. The person who was supposed to meet someone else today instead meets you. The door that was supposed to close in 4 days stays open. The talk that was going to happen without you stays in the background. Things that were going in a different direction start to move in your direction. When you choose faith, God doesn't just make new things appear out of nowhere. He quietly and precisely moves things that are already there toward you without saying anything. This won't happen to you from where you are, but it is taking place. The second thing heaven does is speed up. God doesn't always do things at the same time. It's an open one. Joseph spent 2 years in jail after the person he helped forgot about him. 2 years of not talking. Then Pharaoh had a dream one night. The man thought of Joseph, and it only took hours to do something that should have taken years. In the morning, he was a forgotten prisoner. By the evening, he was second in command of all of Egypt. It wasn't luck. That speed was caused by a moment of loyalty that Joseph thought no one saw. It's possible that the time you thought would take 5 years is now only 5 months away. From the inside, you can't tell that this is going faster. The time has already changed, though. The third thing heaven does is show us things. God starts telling people things when one of His chosen ones is living in line with His will. Not thunder or scary visions, but a clear understanding. A quiet knowledge about a choice you've been thinking about for months. An intuition that is so clear that you don't feel surprised when it happens. You know it. A peace that doesn't make sense given the problems you're having now. That's information from heaven being sent to someone who is ready to receive it. These 3 things, rerouting, speeding up, and revealing, are not going to happen later. They don't want you to wait to finish listening. They're taking place right now. I'll show you this through a life that many people know, but not many really understand. When Moses walked back to Egypt, he was 80 years old. It had been 40 years since he ran away. His name was carved out of the monuments, taking it away. Egypt had forgotten about Moses in the desert. He was a shepherd and was talking to a bush that was on fire. His first answer wasn't confidence either. It was a struggle. He fought. He explained why he wasn't fit for the job. Afterward, the text in its original Hebrew just states, went one choice, one step back toward the impossible. From what we can't see, the 10 plagues started moving. As soon as that step was taken, it was already being planned out how to get through the Red Sea. The manna was ready to go. It was already planned out how to get through the wild. That wasn't something Moses knew. He chose to go. Please listen slowly. The fact that Moses didn't see the water moving doesn't mean that it wasn't moving. Even though he didn't notice the change at the time, history was still going on. The fact that no one told him it was true doesn't mean it wasn't true in heaven already. It didn't have to look like an old man walking into a tough spot for that to be what it was. That's your morning. You can do that. It's possible you didn't feel it. I think you may not have had confirmation. You might have just moved and it felt small, uncertain, and normal. The idea is still the same, though. With one step of faith, the building of heaven began to move around it. Now I'm going to show you something that most people have learned wrong, and it will change everything. There's a word in Greek called the metatoninoa. What most English Bibles call it is repentance, which makes people think of feeling guilty and ashamed and giving up doing wrong. The word doesn't mean that. That translation has led to a lot of confusion for decades. Meta means above, beyond, or outside of the present level. Nos means mind. Metanoia means to think beyond the way you are thinking now and see things from a higher level. It doesn't mean to feel bad about the past, but to think from a different place and act from a place above your problems instead of being stuck in them. It's not just praying that a chosen one does when they make a faith-based choice. It's metanoia. They are choosing to think from a level that hasn't been proven by their situation yet. Going from worrying about staying alive to thinking with faith is the exact change that heaven is going to respond to. This is why that's important. God's messages can't reach you when you're thinking about how to stay alive. It's not that He stopped sending them. It's that your mind isn't ready to receive them. You can find the information. There is help. It's clear, but your antenna is pointing in a different direction. When metanoia moves the antenna, something that has been trying to get through for months finally does. Neuroscientists have a word for this state. Gamma is the name for it. Metanoia was the word used by ancient wisdom traditions for it. There are two very different words that describe the same mental state. I'm going to make a connection between those two things that will change the way you think about your mornings and what you do when you first wake up for a long time. That's on the way. But I want you to understand this right now. Heaven doesn't just watch what you do. They make heaven do things. Because of what you did this morning, things are already rerouting, speeding up, and revealing. I know that a part of you still wants to believe this, but you just can't. A piece that has been let down so many times that it has learned to keep its hopes in check. You don't have to ignore that part. It's there because your faith has cost you something. And real things are things that have cost you something. But what I showed you today, Moses, metanoia, and the 3 ways heaven reacts isn't just nice words. If you think this sounds like a motivational speech, you're wrong. This is an explanation of a process that is already going on. The next part is the deepest truth, which explains why your choice can make all 3 of these things happen. I need you to stay for it because it's bigger than what I've talked about today. But before we go there, please press the like button slowly right now. If anything I just said touched you, if the Moses story or the word metanoia made you feel something, not for me, but this message is meant for someone who made a quiet choice this morning and doesn't yet know what it led to. Let your life be the one that tells them about this. Now, I'm going to talk about something that most people have never been taught directly. It's something I want to say straight out because I think you're ready for it. You are mostly a passive receiver because of what you know about how God works. You were told that God has a clear plan that was made before you were born and will not change. It is your job to find it, stick to it, and not stray. The plan is broken if you mess up. If you wait too long, you might not get the chance at all. It sounds humble, but that idea takes away your power. And when we look closely, the Bible doesn't show us that. I'll show you the difference. Not to question what you believe, but to correct something that I think will set you free. Today, what you were taught, your life will always go in the same direction with God. The truth is that God has a plan for your life, and that plan can go in 1,000 different directions to get you there. What you learned, if you mess up, you'll lose your way. That's not true. If you choose faith after making a mistake, God doesn't throw you away. He uses that mistake to make a path that is more accurate than the first one. You were taught that prayer tells you what God wants. What's really true prayer is how God responds to what you want and makes it happen. Because from the start, He made your deepest desires fit with His plan. What you were taught, you are a vessel that is being filled. The truth is that you are a source of energy. Heaven is set up to get your signal, not just send things to you. What you learned. There is nothing to do when you wait. What is really true, the most active thing a chosen one can do is wait with faith. Because the only person who can handle what's coming is the one who is being shaped while they wait. You learn that God's plan is a straight line. What's really true, God's plan is still alive. It moves, breathes, and shifts every time you make a faith-based decision. That's what it means to shove. That's what took place this morning. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our COF community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself. Jesus says, this is not history. It is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. I want to take you to Joseph now. It's not the end of his story. Everyone knows how it ends. Let me take you to a time that most people don't remember. Joseph was locked up. It wasn't just a hard time that was almost over. At this point, he had been there for years. One of the men who worked for Pharaoh understood his dream and promised to speak for him to help him escape. After that, he went back to his life and forgot all about it. 2 more years of nothing. 2 more years of pain on top of the 10 years that had already been felt. Then one night, Pharaoh had 2 very scary dreams. He called together all of Egypt's wise men to talk about them. The dreams were hard to understand for everyone. The man who had forgotten about Joseph then realized something. He thought of the Hebrew prisoner who had once given him such a clear understanding of his dream that it had changed his whole life. He told Pharaoh. Joseph was sent by Pharaoh. In just one day, Joseph went from being a prisoner to being second in charge of all of Egypt. Pharaoh didn't just have those dreams on that one night by chance. Not being able to read them wasn't just a matter of luck. It wasn't just a stroke of luck that the forgotten man remembered at that very moment. It wasn't just luck that Joseph had spent 10 years waiting in the desert, learning how to deal with power in a quiet way and building the kind of character that could handle what was about to be put on his shoulders. It wasn't all luck. Everything was moving already. From inside the prison, Joseph just couldn't see it. Now I want to talk to the person who still feels like they are locked up. I want to name the voice because that's the first thing that needs to be done to stop letting it control you. It says nothing I do truly matters to God. I'm too small. My morning wasn't important. There are millions of people with bigger callings, more visible stories, more dramatic experiences. And here I am, quiet, unknown, dealing with this alone. And nothing I've done has changed anything in a way I can see. That voice is not a sin. It's not being weak. Allow me to explain what it is. It's the sound of someone who has put their faith in something so many times without seeing any proof that they are safe. At some point they thought, if I don't think I matter, I won't be crushed when I'm ignored again. If I keep my hopes low, the fall won't hurt as much. That's not a lack of faith. That's sad. Sadness that looks like doubt. Deep down, if you follow that feeling long enough, you'll find something. Not just a vague sense that you're not good enough, a certain moment. You chose faith at a certain time and it cost you something. The proof never came without making a big deal out of it. Your soul said, I can't afford to believe like that again. I get it. And I want to tell you something straight out. Not having faith is not the same thing as having doubt. It shows that your faith has cost you something. That thing that cost you something is real. Here's the good news. You can doubt and still be chosen. People can trust you with important things. Even if you're not sure about something, if you cried this morning, you could still have moved heaven with that morning. It's okay to feel small and still be the one who made things better. You can carry around everything you don't understand for as long as you need to. Also, you don't have to do a perfect job for God. You only owe Him what you gave this morning, and that was enough. Before I go on to the next picture, here's the last one I want to show you. Just think about what a navigation system does when you pick a road that wasn't on the plan. It doesn't say you failed. You don't have to go back and start over. It only does one thing. Recalculating. It does it quickly and quietly without any worry or criticism. It starts with where you are now, not where you plan to be or where you were supposed to be, and makes the most accurate path from here, from where you are now, from who you are now with all of the detours, quiet times, and turns you didn't expect. Heaven isn't getting smarter because you got everything right in the end. Heaven is doing some math again because you chose faith right where you are. That's the only thing that is needed. You met it this morning. Do something right now. If you've been listening to that voice that says your choices don't reach heaven, your morning was too small. You are somehow outside of God's response in the comments. Type 1 release. This is your way of saying that you're letting go of the limits that voice has been teaching you. It's not because things feel different yet. It's because you want to believe the truth before you see proof. Type it. Please stay with me and say, I release. That's because what comes next isn't just more of the same truth. The truth that follows makes everything I've said today seem like a warm-up. What changes everything about how you understand yourself, not just how you understand this morning. I'm also going to speak a direct blessing over you before this message ends. I think this statement was put on my heart just for this moment. Do not go anywhere. This is what I've been building up to since the start of this message. I'll show you how everything fits together. The first big reveal said, your morning was special, not because of what you did, but because of who made the choice. The second big reveal said, when you do what is in God's will, heaven acts. Rewriting, speeding up, and revealing, all three are already happening. The third big reveal said God's plan isn't a strict script you have to find and follow. It's alive. It responds and it changes around every faith-based choice you make. But none of those answers the deepest question. It's the one I've been after since the beginning of this message. That is not how your choice makes heaven move, but why? Why does all of this happen? Because of your choice. For what reason does the morning of a chosen one change the world? There is just one answer. And please take your time to understand. You're not doing what God wants you to do. You are what God wanted. Please think about that. Most of what you've been taught makes you seem like someone who follows God's plan, as if God wrote the whole story before you were born and all you have to do is find your part and not change anything. But if we look closely, that's not what the Bible tells us. Joseph wasn't the one who found out what God wanted to do in Egypt. The plan was Joseph. The plan to feed 2 countries without food was built around him, through him, and because of him. She wasn't sent to the palace to act out a story that had already been written. By what she did, she became the story in real time. Moses was not a part of a plan that was used and then thrown away. He was the one who made the plan come together the way it did. You didn't just fit into God's schedule this morning when you chose faith in the middle of your quiet, simple life. You were the one who made the time flow. Something is being said by the Father over everyone who is hearing this right now. I want to try to put it into words. He says, I didn't create a plan first and then create you to fit inside it. I created you and the plan formed around you. Every time you choose me in moments no one sees. Every time it costs you something quiet and real. The structure of what I am building shifts to center itself around that choice. You are not a piece of the puzzle. You have never been a piece. You are the reason the puzzle has the shape it does. Finally, I'm going to tell you exactly who you are. Because just knowing who you are isn't enough for you. You deserve more than that. You can see things. That means other people can't see what you see. There was truth in your feeling this morning that something was right before any proof showed up. That was exactly how your seer power is supposed to work. It said that you carry light. What that looks like in real life isn't always exciting either. Sometimes it's just choosing not to react when everyone else was ready for a meltdown. That peace and quiet that you chose to keep was like light coming in. Even though they couldn't say what changed, people could feel it. You fight the battle of the Spirit. Not because you're loud, but because you don't give up. No matter how hard things get, every day you don't give up. That's one more day that something unseen has to rethink how it's going to attack you. You have a voice. You carry the words that other people feel but can't say yet. You're writing words that aren't just for yourself. Other people have been waiting to hear them. They couldn't put the words together on their own. When you finally say it, they'll know it right away because it was always theirs, too. It's true that you break cycles. This morning, you didn't carry the urge to react, the old fear, or the pattern that ran in your family before it reached you, that ended with you. It's not sent on. The people who come after you begin in a different spot. That's not a little thing. So much has changed for that generation. You're not too little for any of this. You're not too broken to do any of these things. It's not too late to do any of this. You've never been too normal for any of this. You've never been those things. That story was told to you by people who didn't know what they were seeing. I'd like to do something with you now. Don't move from where you are. You don't need to move. Just give this your full attention for a moment. I want you to think back to this morning. Remember the exact moment you decided to do that. Where were you? Have you ever thought about what it would be like to choose faith over fear? Think about that moment very clearly. I want you to see something that you couldn't see at that time. Think about the space around you at that very moment. Instead of seeing the normal room, street, or place you were, I want you to see what was going on in the invisible, not chaos. Do it right. Things are beginning to move. People who are living their own lives are all of a sudden thinking about you for no reason. A door that was closing stopped. A timeline that is changing somewhere. It was all going on in the background, like how a river shifts and changes its course when something moves in its way. In fact, that's what happened. I'm not telling you a story that will make you feel better. Because of this, neuroscientists have been trying to understand and name a process for 20 years. These are the things they learned about gamma. Gamma is a frequency of brain waves that happens about 40 times per second. Scientists at MIT, Harvard, Stanford, and Princeton have studied it because it always makes people feel good. Amazingly clear. I have strong feelings. The feeling of having the right thing happen at the right time in a way that logic alone can't explain. This is what they started calling synchronicity. Gamma is naturally found in large amounts in children. You can see gamma at work when you watch a child learn something they enjoy. That eagerness to learn, that thrill of discovery, and that sense that everything is linked and possible. That is how the brain works best. Researchers called what happens around age 7 the decline effect. The way modern schools work, the pressure to do well and fit in, and the constant noise of stimulation, all start to lower gamma. Not break it, just cut it down. Most adults only feel gamma for short periods of time. By the time they are adults, a sudden flash of insight, a time of deep prayer when things become clear, a feeling of being connected to something bigger than themselves that they didn't expect. Then the noise of everyday life brings them back down. Because chosen ones were born with stronger gamma than most people. This loss hits them harder than it does most others. That's why growing up was different. Why it was easier to learn. Why the ties were stronger. Some things about how the world felt alive were hard to explain or describe. But that's why the difference between who you were as a child and who you feel like now. That difference feels so big and wrong, like a very important thing was taken. Like a language you used to speak well but now find hard to understand. That's not something you made up. We call that the gamma gap. Your brain went into a gamma state when you made your choice based on your faith this morning. That's how metanoia works. That's how Shub feels on the inside. Most people can only do it for a short time before the noise of everyday life pulls them back into a survival mindset. The adjustment starts, but then the interference comes back. I need to talk to you about someone. A woman who had been looking for years for the real experience. She knew it had to be. She had done yoga, meditation retreats, and any other spiritual thing she could find. And she said that what she was looking for was something she could almost touch but could never get close to. She said, I could hear the music. I just couldn't get into the room. She found a 7-minute audio tool made by Dr. Robert Lake, a neuroscientist who has done 34 years of research. Brain entrainment is the name of the technology that puts a certain frequency directly into sound so that when you listen to it through headphones, your brain starts to match it on its own. Because she was sure of the science, she didn't try it. She did it since she had nothing to lose. She didn't use the word focus or productivity to describe what had changed 2 weeks later. And she didn't list any improvements. Synchronicities was the only word she used. She stated, it was like the universe started speaking to me in a language I could finally understand. Some of you are thinking this right now. You've done things before. There was sound healing, meditation, and other practices that said they would change something deep down, but they didn't. I get that. And I want to tell you straight out why those methods didn't change what needed to be changed. They aren't going after gamma directly, not because you did anything wrong. They set up conditions that could lead to a gamma state. The frequency is sent directly into the brain through brain entrainment in a way that can be measured and is always the same. It doesn't work the same way. What you're going through is different. This 7-minute audio track is the tool that Dr. Lake made. It's called the Genius Song. Putting on headphones and being comfortable are all you need to do to listen. No need for a special position. There is no skill to master. Don't do anything that makes you have to get up at 4 a.m. or do it for months before it works, because you're not building up to a state slowly. It works from the first session on. You're being led quickly and gently into one. BOF feedback therapy done by a professional in a clinic costs $300 for one session, which gives you a good idea of how much it costs. About 7 terrazzalos and will get you a biofeedback device for your home. It takes months of daily dedicated meditation practice before the brain really starts to change. This technology was boiled down by Dr. Lake into 7 minutes of audio. The normal price is $49. But because this message is only for people he thinks are really ready right now, the price has been lowered to $39. This is something you won't find anywhere else. Not on Amazon. It's not on any search engine or video page. Only through the link in the message's pinned comment and description. You get 4 extra things with that $392. A song made just for the kids in your life with music. The book from which the movie The Secret got its main ideas. A guided image for 4 parts of your life. And a simple picture of the 5 most important things to do every day. It cost $39 for everything. You can get your money back in full if you listen and don't feel any difference. Not any strings attached. There's no need to explain. You are only at risk if you don't try. Just one more thing I need to say before I move on. There are fake items on the internet with this name. There are audio files that don't have any real frequencies embedded in them. Brain entrainment technology or gamma activation. They're not like the real ones. The link in the pinned comment and the message's description are the only sources that can be trusted. That's the only place where the real method can be found. Don't look for it anywhere else. What you find won't be what we just talked about. If any of this message, the frequency, the gamma, or the process behind what happened this morning felt right to you, I want you to check it out. There's the link. Not as an order, but as the next step if your spirit sees it that way, because the truth we've been talking about today stays the same whether you use that tool in the morning or not. You have a unique energy. You've had it all along. You used it this morning. It's no longer a question of whether heaven answers when you do. How often you are willing to live at the level you were made for is the question. That's what this next part is about. Let's take a break before we finish. Also, I want you to understand something. Well, you brought something heavy with you to this message. You might not have called it that. It could have just felt like you were always tired or far away from the life you thought you should be living, or the stress of someone who has been faithful for a long time without lots of signs that it was working. I'm going to show you where you are now. You thought your morning was normal when you got there. As you leave, you know that it was a moment that heaven blessed. You came here thinking that God already has a plan and that it's your job to find your place in it without making too much trouble. You're leaving because you know you're not part of the plan. The story is about you. You came in with a doubt that said God doesn't care about your choices and that you are too small to make a difference. You know that your doubt was really sadness, and sadness is real. But it was never the real you. You came in after a morning. The energy you leave with doesn't have to stay there. One more thing I want you to know. You're not the only one who feels this way. As you listen, there are chosen people around the world who made a choice this morning that no one saw. They didn't want to get up, but someone did. Who didn't say anything when everyone thought they would. Who prayed even though they didn't feel like it and did it anyway. A huge number of them. In their hearts, almost all of them think that what they did was too small and personal to matter. They're not right. They also need to hear what you said. Think of someone who has been surprisingly quiet lately and who you think is going through something they can't quite explain yet. Send them this message. Not for any other reason, but because they still have a morning inside them that no one knows about. I want to give you 2 things to take with you before we end. Not as spiritual work, but as things to hold on to. The first is what I call the morning seal. It only takes 2 minutes and 3 steps. Finding out who they are is the first step. What am I going to pick today? Not just a thought. A clear choice made ahead of time gives the day a chance to define it for you. The second step is to let go. What am I not going to bring you today? Something from yesterday or last year keeps showing up every morning as if it were still there. Give it a name and let it go before the day starts. The third step is to make a declaration. What am I? Say it in your head, in your car, before you step down. Say who you are over yourself before anyone else can say something less important over you. That's how the morning seal does things. The person who has been chosen doesn't wait to find out what they will be today. They make the choice. The second one is what I call the frequency audit. Before you go to bed every night, ask yourself 5 things. Am I responding from who I am or reacting to what happened? Am I defending something good or to shaming someone who made me think of an old hurt? Am I moving forward with my calling or running from something I haven't dealt with yet? Right now, am I having faith or am I just trying to survive? Are the changes I made to myself this morning the ones I deserved? That's not a test to see how you do. This is a set of tools to check your alignment. These are the signs that tell you if your energy is high enough to move heaven or low enough to get you through the day. There's a difference. You now know what that difference looks like. Let me do what I came here to do. Now, I'd like to talk over you right away. I also want you to get this. Forget about it. Don't question whether you deserve it. Just take it in. We start by being thankful. I am thankful for everyone who is hearing this right now. Thankful for the years that made you who you are today. For the quiet times that were really the hardest times of your life. Getting ready when you have to pay something in the morning. Also, thanks for showing up anyway. For every prayer that seemed to hit a wall and for being faithful enough to send it up anyway. Every single one of those times, there has been a source there. Do not watch from far away. Even more so than the question itself, it was closer than the silence that made you feel like you were missing someone. He sees you, too. All the things that are weighing you down that no one else knows about. Every question you've kept to yourself because you weren't sure if it was okay to have it. Every little act of faithfulness that you don't have to plan. The ones no one praised. The ones that were so quiet that you almost didn't count them. It's all been seen. Not a single morning has been missed. Not a single one. We now let go. We let go of the story that said heaven doesn't see us because we're too small. Let go. We let go of the idea that the choices we make only affect the space they were made in. Let go. We let go of the doubt that pretended to be wisdom for years. Let go. We let go of the comparisons to past times that were never meant for us. Let go. We let go of the limits that others put on us when they looked at us without knowing who they were. Let go. We let go of the old energy, the shutdown, the survival mode, and the waiting to be told it's safe to hope again. Let go. We let go of the weight of every morning that we thought was wasted. And now we get it back as shape. Let go. When we walked into this message, we let go of everything that belonged to that version of ourselves. We do this now, not when we feel ready. Because letting go is what readiness feels like. Let go. Now we're calling out the seer in you. It's fully awake, sensing all the time, not just catching glimpses, seeing what can't be seen, and knowing before the proof comes in. We will turn on the light bearer in you every time you walk into a room from now on. When you get there, the mood changes, not because you say it, but because you carry it. We call this part of you the spiritual warrior in full readiness. It stands, doesn't fight out of fear, holds strong from identity, and stays still inside. Even when everything around you is moving, we let go of the words that have been building in your head in the quiet. It's all set. You won't think twice when the time comes because the words were always yours. The person in you who breaks cycles, we seal the work we did this morning. Things that ended with you will stay ended. The people who come after you begin in a different spot. A whole generation has changed because of a choice you made today. We're not begging for these things. They don't seem like they might be held back when we ask for them. They belong to you, so we're calling them out. These things have always been yours. Now we cover what is rising and what woke you up today. Not out of fear but because it is smart. The building that is being done is holy and holy things should not be shown off too soon. When a breakthrough is close, people tend to try to hurt themselves. But what was sealed at this moment is safe from that. What is starting cannot be slowed down by worries about tomorrow or the thoughts of people who are not in the same energy as you are right now. It has a cover. Now I'm going to say something over you. I think these are the words you were meant to hear from this message. So I want to say them out loud. I hear the Father speaking over everyone who is reading this right now. You're not behind. You've never been behind. The timeline you've been using to judge your progress is not the important one. It's the one that was written all around you and can change every time you choose faith. I didn't cancel less important plans because I was sick of you. The things you did this morning showed that you are ready to carry out the plan that fits who you are. So, I can let them. You have made a promise. You have been chosen. You have been sent. You are not getting God's attention and are not wondering when your turn will come. You are the reason why heaven is paying attention to you right now. Do not wait to be chosen at last. There was always someone who chose you. And this morning, in the middle of your normal life, you chose back. Do not say anything yet. For a moment, sit in that, not in your thoughts, but somewhere else. You have been waiting a long time to hear what was just said. Find that part of you. Just let it rest there. I can hear the Spirit saying one last thing to you. Use it to walk in. It's done. It's locked up. Take it. Amen. In His name. Type 1M in the comments right now if what happened in this message really moved you. I am is all you need. Not I am trying or I am hoping. The most powerful thing a chosen one can say. Putting your stamp on everything that was said today feels good. And if this message confirms something that was important to you, let your like be more than just a number. Let it be amen that you don't have to say. Here is where you can stay in touch with people who are becoming more aware of who they are. There will be more. Stay close. You are about to enter your divine future. But remember, this breakthrough is not for you alone. Your testimony is the bridge someone else will use to reach their own miracle. Archangel Michael is inviting you to visit community through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. By joining our like-minded community, you are no longer praying in isolation. You are adding your voice to a global sanctuary where we discuss the Word daily and stand in the gap for one another. This is not poetry. When Jesus says, "Give and heaven will open over you." On this platform, every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and a hedge of safety for your family. Now is your time. Step into our community prayer wall. Share your heart, and as you give, watch God multiply what you let go of. Let's finish this journey together. Visit our community now. Join the family and see your heavens open. Just before you leave, think of someone who has been steadfastly quiet during a time when no one has noticed them. Tell that person about this. They also chose this morning, and they should know what it meant. Before we get to the end of this powerful story, let's reflect on this deep truth. You did not find this message by accident. This is a divine appointment meant specifically for you. You are being invited into a protected, faith-filled community at the link in the description and pinned comment. A place where divine abundance is not just a hope but a promise built on the Word. By heading to the site right now, you are unlocking access to a sacred community of like-minded believers. When you join our membership tiers, you gain immediate entry to powerful content, daily devotions, and divine insights that are hidden from the world. This is your chance to enter a sanctuary where you will receive spiritual guidance, unwavering support on our prayer wall, and speedy progress toward your destiny. Do not let this moment of destiny pass you by. Your breakthrough is waiting. Join our inner circle through the exclusive link in the description. This is how you guarantee you never miss the personalized messages and spiritual warfare tools meant to elevate your life. If you feel called to deepen your connection, the link is waiting for you in both the pinned comment and the description. For those who want to amplify this work and carry the light home, you can find our guided ebooks and Bibles in the pinned comment. Whether you join as a member or sow a seed through our resources, your presence and energy change the world. Take the step. Your abundance awaits.